Okay. This is another episode of After Dark VOD reviews, game review, whatever you want to call it. We're locking in, so we're just gonna answer some questions. What's the fastest way to move in the game? Let's figure that out.
If I asked you which of these paths will get you from point A to point B the fastest, which would you choose? Assuming you have no mobility items, nothing like that, just your normal movement. Well, the correct answer is actually path 3. Simply put, it's because it has the most elevation change. But to really understand why path 3 is the fastest, you have to completely understand how player movement works in Fortnite. So in this video, I'll teach you exactly that. Everything about player movement and thus, how to get around the map faster. Because while mobility items change almost every update, your normal movement is always the same, and you have to make hundreds of decisions a game about how to rotate. Knowing how it works can save you seconds each time that add up to minutes throughout the game. The first thing to note is that running up elevation is faster than running on flat ground. Their horizontal speed is the same, but that means you have to be moving faster when going up elevation for them to be the same. You run 5.5 meters per second on flat ground, so when you're running up a 45-degree incline, you're actually running 7.8 meters per second, or about 41% faster. You might say, well, that doesn't really matter if it's not in the direction you want to go, but all of that extra vertical distance can be converted into horizontal distance with the next topic, sliding. But first, you might have noticed that my ping is lower than usual. That's because I started using Gear Up Booster, a normal path. I take difference for me when playing over 30 covered, because they all see you can get 2 free safe to use, using it for years. I have a free and another video. But back to sliding. When it comes to sliding to gain speed, you don't just want to slide all the way down. Sliding downhill doesn't actually help you gain speed. The falling down is what's giving you the speed. The only thing sliding does is stop your momentum from being halted. If you aren't sliding, it doesn't matter how much momentum you have, as soon as you land it goes straight to 0. So anytime you land with momentum, you have to slide if you want to keep it. But the longer you slide, the more momentum you're losing. You should instead be jumping instantly upon landing. This does 3 things. It keeps you in the air and falling for as much time as possible to keep gaining momentum. The slide stops your momentum from resetting. And the jump converts the downward momentum into forward momentum. When you normally jump, regardless of terrain, you jump straight upwards. But when you jump from a slide, instead of jumping straight upwards, you instead jump perpendicular to the surface. So on flat ground, that means straight up. But if you're sliding down, it changes your jump angle so that jumping actually propels you forward. If you compare just sliding to slide jumping over any decline, there's about a 50% increase in horizontal speed with slide jumping. So that's how you can gain insane amounts of momentum from slide jumping down an incline. Sometimes too much. Gotta be careful not to do too much and die to fall damage. But what about jump fatigue? Jump fatigue typically doesn't apply on declines even if you always jump damage. Momentum percent increase. If you compare just sliding to slide jumping over any decline, there's about a 50% increase in horizontal speed with slide jumping. So that's how you can gain insane amounts of momentum from slide jumping down an incline. Sometimes too much. Gotta be careful not to do too much and die to fall damage. But what about jump fatigue? Jump fatigue typically doesn't apply on declines even if you always jump as soon as you hit the ground because of how jump fatigue is tracked. It doesn't care about how long you're on the ground, it only cares about how often you're jumping. When on flat ground, after just 2 jumps, you're tired, so the 3rd jump will both not jump as high and slow your movement speed. But if you space the jumps out even just a little, then you're able to avoid jump fatigue. So when slide jumping downhill, because it takes longer to hit the ground each time, your jumps are naturally more spaced out, avoiding jump fatigue. But that also means when going uphill, you shouldn't slide or jump for speed. As a matter of fact, you shouldn't do it on flat ground either. I often see players running around the map and sprint jumping to try and get around faster, but it's actually just slower. Yes, the sprint jump is slightly faster than just sprinting, but it takes so much more of your stamina that you run out faster, and in the long run it slows you down. On flat ground, sprinting and jumping is faster than normal running, but just sprinting alone is even faster. But the fastest way is to do a single sprint jump, then slide and B-hop twice to conserve the momentum from the sprint jump as much as possible while using less stamina than running the whole way. Not only is this the fastest way to move around, but it also allows you to take other actions while moving. So you can pop heals, farm objects, build, or shoot people around you while still moving at maximum speed. Now the best part comes from combining all of this information. If you know that going down hills increases your speed, and that you can reform while running at full speed, then if you're already say at max wood, it's just a net gain to use ramps to gain speed if you're running through a forest or somewhere with extra wood around. Yeah, it's more work, but building this habit just flat out increases your movement speed for free. You just sprint jump, then place a backwards ramp to slide and jump off of. Then you keep the momentum with another slide jump. During the 2nd and 3rd slide jumps is when you can farm objects around you to get the materials back that you just spent. Just look at how much faster I'm able to make this rotate than if I hadn't built anything. And if you're in an area where the ground is weirdly between grid tiles and the ramps don't want to place right, you You can place a forward ramp first to connect the backwards ramp to. Now I'm not saying to always do this. You know you still need to stay aware and adapt based on the situation, but it's good to have the option when you just need to get from point A to point B as fast as possible. Now I'm not going to go into how to move the fastest with every mobility item possible because we'd be here all day. Plus it'll probably just change again next chapter. But in general, you just want to use slide jumps to keep momentum as much as possible. For example, with the grapplers now, it's better to grapple downward and keep slide jumping than to just grapple forward. The same was true of nitro rings, shockwaves, etc. So in the next chapter's mobility has us flying out of cannons or who knows what else. Just remember to try and conserve the momentum as much as possible. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one. Farewell.
Fighter when it comes to solo cash cards finals. In multiple seasons, he has had the world record elims, and in his most recent cash card, he just dropped a 29 kill win. And he does this every single season. He's getting these insane 20 plus kill games against other players who are qualifying for the finals, and he makes it look so easy. So I thought, which player is better to look at to figure out how to W key in Fortnite Chapter 2 Remix than Marius? I'm going to be covering every single little strat he does, all the tips and tricks he does, loads of really useful information that you can put into your game no matter what system or what thing or whatever you're playing on, that Marius does, and that can be really useful for you guys. Please leave a like if you enjoyed, and let's go straight into this with the first elim. One of the biggest skills for fighting that Marius has absolutely mastered is understanding that it's not just about creating things for yourself and always doing edits and always doing peaks. Instead, it's more so about understanding what your opponent can do. So take this example right here. Marius gets a pump on his opponent, gets the wall on him, and rather than doing any type of edit like a right hand peek or a top row or a top right hand edit, instead he spots where the opponent is standing, which is way too close to the wall, as you can see. So whenever you're this close to the wall, it is really awkward to break the wall and then place your own wall in front of you because you have to look straight down at the floor. And Marius knows this. He knows the opponent can't place that wall quick enough. So what he's going to do is lets the guy shoot out his own wall, and now this guy normally would be able to place the wall right there, but because he's too close to it, as you can see, he's got the delay where he's got to look down at the floor, and Marius is able to get a free kill. And this is one thing he does the entire time during fights, looking where his opponent is, and he's able to use that to get a kill extremely easily while the opponent is forced into making a mistake they don't even realize that they're making. And the next two elims that Marius gets are in the exact same fashion as the first. This first guy had absolutely nowhere where Marius was. He's able to sneak up behind him, get a nice free kill right there. And the next guy, this is a very useful example. Again, this guy is not super stacked, it's not like the craziest fight ever, but he spots the guy not having any awareness, not looking at where Marius is. This guy obviously sees footsteps on his screen, and he doesn't look at where the footsteps are coming from. So all Marius does is spots, oh, he's looking the wrong way, he's trying to open a chest. Let me just jump in the SMG and get a nice free kill like that. And he takes out Skibbity Sideball, as you can see. And it's so important, guys, when you're fighting, you're constantly looking at the other players, not just trying to hit a shot on them, but looking where they're looking where they're standing. And it's like Marius does the whole time. Then for the rest of this W key game, he goes ahead and gets the vault, of course. This is probably the best W key spot apart from maybe Ice Spice. However, this spot just has a little bit more loot, so you could argue it's better. And also, he makes the interesting decision to leave behind the mythic minigun right there and instead opts for this rapid fire SMG. And you'll see the reason why later on, but the main reason being is that it has an insane fire rate. So you go through your bullets really quickly, but you get guaranteed bleed through damage. So people can't just turbo build and hold walls when you're spraying them. This gun has guaranteed bleed through, which is insanely strong, just like the Brutus minigun. How you don't have the risk of landing a grotto. Marius in this next fight does one of the best strats that you guys can do whenever you're fighting somebody, and it's called spray baiting. What you do is get on their wall, spray a couple bullets of your SMG, and then see how they react. Look what they're placing in their box, look what type of peeks and things they like to do, and bait them out. And he does the exact same play as soon as he swaps the angle. Look what he does. Swaps to his shotgun, back to his SMG as if he's going to spray the wall, then back to his shotgun and catches this guy out doing a bad peek and gets a bit of opening damage. And now, because Marius has spray baited him, he's got a fully loaded SMG that he can try to end the fight with. And again, Marius does the exact same thing to close out the fight. He spots the opponent is in the exact same situation as earlier. He's in a 2x1 with no cones and no center wall. So what does Marius do? He spray baits and immediately pulls out his blueprint, knowing the guy likes to insta edit, gets the cones on him, gets the center wall, and hits the max and takes him out straight away. You guys need to read what somebody's playstyle is before you get on the wall the second time around. This next fight isn't too crazy for kill number 5 right here. However, Marius has a couple nice plays. The first thing is just using the car as a little right-hand peek device to sort of block off the shot and getting the wall on this guy at the same time. Then he very quickly gets a massive amount of damage into the player, and the key thing that he does to end this fight quickly, rather than like tunnel visioning and trying to chase this guy through all these old builds, instead all Marius does is angle swapping. And this is so important. You guys need to learn whenever you hit somebody low, just swap the angle that you're approaching from, like move around, and ideally as well move from, you know, here to the right. So press to the D on your keyboard or right on your controller, whatever you're playing on, and go ahead and move to the right so you always have a natural right hand peek. And also, just quickly, it's very awkward for somebody to place a right hand wall, and normally whenever people make boxes or they tap, because most people are left-handed, if that makes sense, their keyboard, you know, is on the left and their mouse is on the right, they will put that right hand wall last. So watch this play right here. When he makes the space, he's going to make a full box. He gets a little bit stuck, but he makes a full box and then places the wall to the right last, because that's the hardest wall to place. And there's even certain angles you can't place that right hand wall. And Marius uses that the entire time in fights. Very good to end fights quickly, as well as just to angle swap mid-fight as well. And also, if you guys don't believe me about this being the best gun in the game, that was the Brutus minigun gun, as you can see. And Marius does not take the minigun because of the charge time on it. This SMG has the exact same fire rate. However, you can instantly reload it really quickly, as well as you can go ahead and actually get bleed through damage without that charge up time. If you guys enjoy learning how a pro player thinks when they're fighting, then definitely go check out the Fighting Masterclass. We just released this last week, so it's the button below. So in this case, it's over here up on the hill, and use it against your opponent, especially if you're trying to pressure your opponent and they're the one who's boxed up. As you can see, Marius does that perfectly. He gets himself between, so the enemy is now between the third party and Marius, so he's getting pressured from both sides, and Marius is just going to right hand pressure. And it is the exact same play I was just talking about, where he's always moving around to the right as he's fighting the opponent right here. And he's also not getting too greedy. At no point in this fight has Marius swung his pickaxe on the guy's wall. Instead, he's just SMG pressuring, right hand peeking, and this guy made the classic mistake of placing that right hand wall last, and that's what gets him killed since Marius was able to grab it first. In this next fight, let's go ahead and watch the enemy's POV, and I want you guys to think about what you could do in this situation differently compared to this guy. The guy's trying to do loads of counter peeks, but Marius's movement makes it almost impossible for him to actually get counter peeked. So when the guy finally goes for a couple shots and finally does a good right hand window right here, look at Marius's movement. He's swinging fully to the left, and he also does this very, very useful trick, which is knowing that the guy is behind the wall right here, he pre-fires into the window as close to the window as possible. So you can see, can't see the enemy, but he pre-fires on that little slither of the wall right there, as you can see, like right through here. And this means that as the guy is right hand peeking, and also because the guy's hitbox is actually bigger than the female character model, it's way bigger if you guys didn't know that, it means that he's able to get the shot off first before the guy's even got rid of his pump delay and is able to shoot back. Now, let's go ahead and watch how this guy is not able to do anything in return right here as Marius pressures them. First things first, Marius goes ahead and shotgun, spray replace the wall. Then he just does a full-on spray replace to catch the guy off guard. Then this is actually the smartest thing of the whole thing, I think. He smacks the top and distracts the guy. And the reason he's smacking the top here, this is the first time, by the way, in the whole video, Marius has actually used his pickaxe, I'm pretty sure. He smacks the top and then immediately goes ahead and angle swaps. He's not trying to replace the top. He blocks off. He's not even focused on that. He's doing it to distract the enemy while he's angle swapping. And the guy's very lucky there not to die from the back. Then Marius goes ahead and gets the slide wall, completely blocks this guy off. And just to recap, all of these builds here are Marius's. All of this is blocking the guy off. The top is blocked off. All of these builds over here that Marius is pressuring from are his as well. And the other guy has got absolutely no options. He does put up a good fight, hits some pre-fires in return, but of course he's going to go down in that situation. Whenever you're pressuring that well by constantly swapping between shotgun replacing, not using your pickaxe only to bait other people out, spraying the entire time and doing different tempos of places, it's almost impossible for somebody to do any type of damage back to you while you're fighting. Your number 8, Marius actually does some very nice fighting tech that you guys can learn. How this fight does take ages. The first thing he does is just getting some bleed through damage after replacing this, and this is one thing you guys should always do in fights, is instead of replacing something when you definitely can, it's so much easier just to spray through and try to get a little bit of chip damage to open the fight and sort of make your opponent panic to begin with, which this guy immediately starts panicking. Then Marius reloads his SMG, angle swaps, swing to the right again, and he immediately starts replacing this guy's floor and sort of makes this guy forced into this other box, because even though the guy's got the top, because he's replacing the floor, the guy's going to get into this other box, and Marius immediately tries ending the fight super quick versus the enemy by hopping straight in. The guy decides to exit out the top, and Marius does this really, really nice bit of piece control, which is using the edited floor right here and getting the full box almost on the guy from below, and then uses this edited floor as well to replace the stair after getting the cone up top. So as you can see, he replaces the stair, and then finally, to finish off this nice little bit of tech, he does the little Martos jumping peek through and almost hits the guy and takes him out. The guy's lucky enough to get away, and this fight took absolutely ages because Marius didn't have too many mats. Then to finally end the fight, Marius plays it nice and slow, lets the guy run around like a maniac. There's a right hand window, and as soon as they both sort of miss this shot right here, he makes the really confident play of just getting straight in the box. And of course, the other guy's first reaction isn't to hold out his pump and wait for a second shot, it's to try to replace the wall. So Marius just gets straight in and takes out the enemy before they're able to run around anymore. Yours 9 and 10, Marius third parties 2 players fighting, and take a look at how he does this. This is really important. The one thing, he doesn't focus on the player who's down on low ground ground, as you can see. Instead, he focuses on the one he assumes is low HP because they're the one disengaging and making space. And all he does is waits for the guy to make that space and jump straight in from the top and catches the guy completely unaware. And now the guy's caught unaware. He's in a really bad spot, obviously wanting to make more space. Marius just bleeds through the wall and gets a nice free kill. And then watch how he plays this fight versus the next one. Again, tries to do a jumping play, gets hit to very, very low HP, and immediately plays it nice and slow, but keeps up the pressure on the enemy because he knows he's out traded the enemy. This guy is super low HP. It's a very easy fight if he can just get the bleed through damage to the SMG. But he makes sure not to get pre-fired or not to get edited on. As you can see, the guy seems pretty good. He's doing edits in return. So what does Marius do? Sprays his SMG, takes the time to pop mini so he can no longer get one-shot body pumped, and immediately goes ahead and pressures the guy and cancels his heals. It's so important that you don't just let people have a free time of actually just healing up and you cancel their heals, especially when you know they're like popping a med kit or something for a while, because when you cancel their heals, they're probably going to be a little bit annoyed. They're going to want to do a counter peek back to get you, alleviate some pressure. And this guy falls for the classic, holding the edit on the cone. Marius hops up, does the little Martel's classic, and gets a super free kill. That peak is very situational, but in that case right there, absolutely perfect situation to do it. Gets a free kill on the guy peeking from above with the little Martel's classic. For kill number 11, Marius has some really good in the box move. First thing that he does is very quickly gets this wall replaced on the guy, and just quickly from where the guy's standing, he can't even hold this wall really in most situations because he's way back in the other box. So even though he's turning around trying to hold the wall, Marius is able to grab it, gets the guy completely unaware, and gets a load of opening damage. Now when he gets wall to wall, take a look what he does. Whenever he's reloading his SMG, he's swinging back, so if the guy was to open an angle, it's very awkward for him to actually see Marius, and Marius can get the out trade with the SMG versus the pump at range. And now as Marius gets close, take a look at how he baits out the pre-fires. First of all, by getting the wall low multiple times, so the guy shoots his own wall and sort of breaks it himself. And now as the guy makes a 2x1 upwards, which is a very good play by him to be fair, look what Marius does. He stands way back, uses the guy's own wall against him, so the guy can't even see where Marius is shooting him from, and he gets hit for an insane amount of damage with that rapid fire SMG. Now Marius baits out the pre-fires multiple times again by spraying, getting up close and personal with the guy, and only when the guy is cracked and how he's got no longer whites, what Marius does, waits for the guy to pull out his blueprints, waits for him to be in the edit screen. As you guys can see, the pencil's out. He's doing an edit on the wall, and the wall's likely to be low HP if he was to do the edit. Marius sprays straight through, pumps the ceiling for some reason, and then takes out the other player and gets a very free kill. It's so important when you guys are in a box fight situation that you constantly are aware of your movement. You're not just standing like a statue, letting the other guy do really simple peeks on you, and you're constantly moving around, jiggling around, making your angles swap up. So it's very hard for the enemy to out-trade you. And now Marius gets this really good loadout with the floppers and the big pots, and of course he's going to keep W killing. For kills number 12 and 13, Marius does a couple of really nice plays that you guys can learn from. Exactly like earlier, he's going to use the server or the people third party against this other player, as you can see. So when he does actually finally get a box here with the jump in replace right here, he has the guy really panics, he's getting shot, he's low HP, and he immediately focuses on getting control of the centerpiece. And the next thing he does, as soon as he gets control of the centerpiece, is he holds the edit for a second. Not for like an insane amount of time, like he's not just waiting for like a perfect opportunity to edit, but he holds it for a second to make the guy react and not just hold out his shotgun. A lot of people, whenever you get control of them, they're just going to stand there with a shotgun out, and if you wait just half a second or so, they're going to start trying to run out, they're going to edit out, they're going to look the other way, and it's going to be a free kill for you, which is exactly what Marius does. He waits just a second for the guy to no longer have his shotgun out. Now the guys get caught sprinting, trying to leave the box, and Marius gets a nice free kill just like that. On the next kill, Marius does a bunch of really useful techniques. Again, first thing he does is he lets this guy fall into his face right here, which is normally very risky, but he immediately uses his fast mechanics, gets out the box, but doesn't insta edit in return. Most people here would insta edit when the wall is already 1 HP from him score or recessing it. Instead, what Marius does, lets the guy replace his wall, right? Which normally you might think, oh, that's not the best play. You shouldn't let somebody replace the wall that you've got on them. But he knows the guy's reaction is to try to piece control them. And if you look where the guy is standing, go to his POV, he can't do any piece right here, apart from really place like a cone and maybe a cone up top. He can't get the walls on Marius. So what Marius does, lets the guy try to piece control, let the guy think he's Booger for a second and piece control him. Instead, gets a free pump and then is immediately able to get out the box without taking a lick of damage and without even getting any builds placed on him. Now he's got a really easy time of ending this fight, and take a look what he does. He footstep tracks the guy as he jumps down on the side. Doesn't quite hit the pump right there, but because he has the piece on him, as you can see, he's got all the piece. The guy can't go up, and the guy, it's not his cone below him. Marius gets the doubles below the guy and gets another cone on the other player and immediately angle swaps. It's so important whenever you have somebody in this situation. You don't just stand here and replace as they can fall in 50-50 and hit you 180 or whatever. Instead, angle swaps to the side, the guy does a very nice play of holding his floor the first time round, and Marius knows the guy is unlikely to try to hold his floor again. Like, he definitely could try it, however he wants to get out the box. So his full box, he wants to get out of the cone. So what Marius does, insta double pickaxe, which he hasn't done the entire time of this video, hasn't double pickaxe once, only double pickaxes when the guy's trying to do the same thing, drops the guy down, resets the wall so he can't take any damage in return, and gets a nice free kill as the guy's stuck in all his edits. And just quickly, one thing, don't know if you guys have noticed so far in the video, but Marius always has the muscle memory of making space. Like, as soon as he gets a kill, he has the muscle memory to make space. In this case, he already had that space made, but he still has that muscle memory sort of built in from playing and getting third partied and not getting grappled on. It's so important that you guys build that up as well. The next 2 kills, Marius just does something which is really simple, which is just doing a little bit of a drone check as you approach the box. And as you can see, just look at the other player right here. You just know this other guy is pretty bad. The way he's just moving around in the box, looking at Marius as he comes over, trying to do a little pre-fire and missing his shot. He builds in wood straight away. And also, just quickly, never ever do this play where you edit your cone like that. The main reason being is you can't see your wall getting broken that easily. And also, now you're going to be focused on, you know, holding the stair or whatever, and Marius is able to just get straight into the box, knows the other guy's pretty bad. So even though he misses his pump right here, he's able to take out the other player with the SMG, of course. It is the exact same thing to the next player. Spots the guy down here in wood with Miaskul's the bot, and immediately has absolutely no respect for the guy, just straight grabs a wall, doesn't even bother piece controlling, just focuses on getting damage output and takes out the other player straight away and gets 2 very free kills back to back. One of the most important things at the moment in W King is just getting opening, you know, awareness checks on somebody and figuring out if they're a bad player or a good player. It is so useful to do in fights. For kill 16, all Marius does is do the grappler trick, where you basically grapple and then pull out your shotgun just as it sort of connects. You basically press your shotgun button. It does take a bit of practice, and it allows you to have your shotgun out as you grapple up on somebody. And of course, this other guy shoots a little bit too quick, and Marius gets a whole load of damage onto him, and it is a very easy time of taking out the other player. Definitely practice that grapple trick. It's really useful for solo cash cups. In this next fight, Marius does a couple nice things as he gets from the guy's wall. As you can see, the guy is doing a right hand peek, pretty good peek by him, and he gets some opening damage onto Marius, but Marius immediately, instead of peeking the angle where the guy's holding him, swaps the angle around, holds the edit as he moves around, and then gets completely behind it and misses his shot. However, it was a very nice play, so I want to show you regardless. Always make sure that you're swapping your angles in fights, and if you are swapping angle around to the left, make sure you hold the edit to make sure you're completely safe as you do it. Then to end the fight, Marius just tracks the guy's footsteps down, gets in, and takes him out. For kills number 18 and 19 right here, Marius doesn't do anything too flashy. All he does is just let these other people rotate past him and then jumps on them as they're getting held from in front, which is a really good play to get a refresh if you guys ever need a refresh at these type of zones, like just before moving zones. So as you can see, other people are getting held from in front, and then Marius is able to get just 3 kills on them being unaware. That's not the main thing that I want you guys to focus on right here. It's how Marius survives when he's getting hit to low HP. Instead of just rotating on foot right here as he's getting held by a player with an AK, instead what he does is he grapples, mantles in storm, so he tanks a load of storm, and then he just tarps in a high layer in metal and overbuilds an insane amount, as you can see, just to make sure he survives. If you're ever getting held, always make sure you use storm to your advantage and actually like flank around in storm for a second, as long as you have the whites to do so, and then try to layer up so people can't shoot you out as easily. The reason you guys are probably getting focused and lobbied the whole time is because instead of going and doing what Marius did, you probably grappled down to here, and then now you're suddenly between like 4 people who can shoot you from different directions, and you'll definitely die in those situations. Instead, go to high layers, overboard mats, and he's going to use this good high layer position to actually get kills from in a second. Now when it comes to kill number 20 here as we get into endgame, this is how Marius gets the majority of his refreshes whenever it comes to just playing a tournament. And it's the one thing that I think you guys should learn from watching this that's really important for endgame kills. It's not just about box fighting people very well, it's about being in a good position so they're forced to make mistakes. Like this guy right here, he's doing a grapple rotate, Marius is on height, has the edits on him, and then instead of doing the edits and just box fighting normally, instead all he does, waits for the guy to leave his box. The guy's going to be making mistakes, he has to go to zone, he can't go back out this way, and Marius is able to get a very free kill and get a massive refresh. And that's just the way he gets the majority of these endgame kills. Rather than just straight up box fighting people, he just waits for zone to kick them out or for them to be making mistakes back zone like this guy, and then he gets a very free kill multiple times. And all these players aren't even shooting back at this point because they're so panicked and worried about zone hitting them and not taking any ticks, and that allows Marius just to run around and basically just piece up everybody as they go to zone, and he gets a little bit unfortunate here not being able to take out this other player as well. Then on second moving, he does the exact same thing. He starts playing height. Obviously height is the easiest position to get kills from, but he's not actually trying to play height here. Instead, he's just using this to spot people and figure out where they're going to be free kills from. As you can see, this guy's sitting in his cone, quite obviously. So Marius just drops in front, pump piece, and then edit and gets a free kill. It's really important you guys learn that pump and then piece, rather than piecing and then pumping, if that makes sense. You don't want to be building when you can get a free shot off, because that damage output, especially with a spaz, is so key to actually winning fights quickly. And these next few kills that Marius gets during endgame honestly aren't too mechanical kills, but they're more so just having good game sense and awareness of what's going on around you. So the first one is this example case of this player right here. This guy has built a 2x1. He's obviously popping heals that Marius can see, and what he does whenever somebody has a 2x1 in the endgame is they're probably going to look down for a kill. Like maybe if they had a, a Taysom box and they got a stair right here, they might flip the stair and look up, but majority of cases someone with a 2x1 is going to be editing the bottom floor, especially if they're on a high mid ground there, and looking down, which is exactly what this guy is doing. And as you can see, all Marius does is jump in, the guy can't even see his top getting broken, and he gets a very free kill just like that. And he also makes the correct decision here of not picking up any slow heals, and instead always prioritizes quick kills that are as quick to pop as possible. Then he does a very, very nice high ground flank right here. So this guy up on height, to be fair, is doing a pretty decent job of holding height. He's connected back zone, he's double layered in metal, he's on the right hand side of zone. However, he's not fully on the right, and Marius is going to abuse this. So what he does is he's going to grappler cancel and go up on the right hand side where there's a little gap in the edge of Storm. You can also just do this in Storm as well if you're trying to go for a height flank, and he's able to completely blindside this guy, since this guy is of course going to be focused on either tarping or shooting down on the majority side of zone. He's not going to be expecting somebody to grapple up from behind him in Storm. It's exactly what Marius does, hits an opening pump, and then here I really like this choice. Instead of trying to build fight this guy, all he does is just SMG out, and then as he's SMGing and breaking the builds, instead of just looking at the builds, he's tracking where the guy is, and he gets a really free kill. And then straight away, of course, he gets chopped by somebody else down below him. And what does he do? Grapplers down to not take full. And I'm not gonna lie, that guy just kind of got shit on, if we're being honest. Not really too much to be done there. That guy just got maxed. Now for kills number 26, this is where Marius is desperately trying to get 30 bomb. He's basically fully hopping in box. He makes sure to clear off high ground so nobody's way up above him, and he spots this guy rotating on wood down the mid ground. And to be fair, this is not the worst rotate by this guy, but whenever you're building on wood, you're extremely vulnerable to somebody jumping on you. Exactly what Marius does. He gets the blocking wall, so the guy is now sniffing his piece, and then just sprays him with the SMG and focuses on output, which is so important. Guys, stop being so flashy when you're trying to get kills during endgame. I don't like to see people doing this the whole time. It's more so about just getting one bit of piece on somebody and then using that bit of piece to go ahead and take them out. Then at this point in time, Marius has to slow down a little bit because everybody is, playing mid ground. It's quite hard to get kills when people are playing back to all these old boxes. And he actually does a very nice little bit of tech right here, which is as he's box fighting this guy, in a second, you can see he does the stair replace. The guy seems pretty good, gets the cone on him. And what does Marius do? Instead of breaking the cone and having to reload his SMG after that, instead, to save mats, he just does a little jump out the side and then mantles on top of the cone, which is just a pretty useful thing to learn to get out of situations. And this is where he gets on the wall versus other player, and the guy insta edits, catches Marius off guard, and hits him low. And then take a look at how Marius plays this defensively. All he does is just back up, make some space in metal, and then immediately get his quick kills off while looking where the opponent is to make sure the guy's not pressuring him. So important whenever you get hit to low HP that you actually figure out where the opponent is if they're trying to key you, and then he's able to chain this into a couple more kills. This little bit of piece right here is really, really nice. He gets the guy fully boxed, doesn't spray out because he doesn't have any SMG bullets. He just holds the guy in Storm for a second, and then angle swaps after holding him in Storm for the right hand peak, just like that. Gets another right hand peak, and the guy is way back in Storm, so of course Marius is just going to chase him and prevent him from playing early heal off. And now we get into this final 1v1, and I'll break this down in depth because Marius absolutely shits on this guy in the 1v1. So the first thing that Marius does in this 1v1 is make a load of space and make sure he's as safe as possible. It's really important that, especially when you have, some type of an advantage in a fight. So in this case, Marius obviously has the mat advantage compared to this other player who's, just been playing mid ground the whole game, while Marius has been getting loads of kills. He obviously has a massive mat advantage. So you want to play to that strength rather than playing to like grapple on their head or try to, play for heal off, whatever in this case. So Marius, is all he's going to do is burn this guy's mats and force the guy into making mistakes. So look what he does. Looks for some back peeks right here. Then he does this nice little play, chopping out the weak wall back in Storm. And immediately upon doing the chop, he sprints, swaps his angle, and tries to go for a pump. And it's the exact same thing multiple times. Doing little peeks from back in Storm. So as the guy's trying to pressure Marius's mats away, he gets a little chip damage off. Exact same thing again. Stair, pre-fire shot, and then finally to finish off the fight when he knows the guy's got no mats because he's not building anything, he does this little nice Martos peek with a stair over the head and gets a free kill. Whenever you guys are in a 1v1, and I coach just a lot of solo cash 1v1s where people just completely throw the game as soon as they get in 1v1 because they get nervous, always think of what is your advantage. So in this case for Marius, he had an insane amount of mats, so all he needs to do is just tarp and
Hey, GG though. How you doing? Scale of 1 to 10.
And I've won 54 solo victory cup games, and today in the hey guys, it's my
All right, we're gonna go over Muzz now. Stream's going decent. Cold where I am. Cold as hell.
And I've won 54 solo victory cup games. And today in the fighting masterclass, I'm going to show you my fighting playstyle and strats.
That's one thing people don't do a lot is like you do a window peek and you definitely could kill this guy by doing like a row or something, but it's actually better to not edit the wall since you just placed it and it's just been reset or whatever. It's better to just swap angle, right? Because now
and I got the right hand too.
Yeah. Like swapping angle is normally way better than changing, like doing another edit. Like the best edit in like 80% of scenarios is just swapping angle and just seeing what they're doing, you know? Which is one thing I think you do a lot. I watched the whole 50 wins video, it's kind of crazy. When you're fighting against a armored wall player, how do you want to approach it?
If I instantly go to a different wall without the armored, I usually expect them to insta-edit, because I feel like that's the common play right now. Also, I feel like in solos especially, like, fake pickaxing is really OP because so many kids just go for
I am from the United States.
I just want to run.
What about you?
Because they don't really have like crazy mechanical ability. And also now I've started to always sit behind like a ramp or a cone if someone's on my wall. Because one week when I had the mythic scan coin, a kid just walked through my wall when I was sitting on my cone with his pickaxe, like with the momentum phase in, and it pissed me off.
So you're now always sitting
just behind an edited cone or a ramp, because even if they're still on my wall and they don't like try to phase in, I can just quickly double edit the ramp and the wall and go for another peek. This was stupid. I thought I could dash on the train and kill this kid, but I guess we can see what I do here defensively. He didn't find me.
Not just the 2x1, which is what most people do, is 3x1, right? With the stairs. So like, if he was to key you, you'd have like a bunch of... Like a stair is actually much better to fight from than a wall, right? Because
oh, you already know Fortnite's my favorite game. Pokemon, maybe a little bit more, but you know, I'm not playing Pokemon really that much anymore. Pokemon and Fortnite though. What about you?
Peek, they're just going to shoot you back straight away. Holding the edit from pickaxe. Nice.
Nice reset. Oh my god. Minecraft's a fun game.
I'm not gonna lie,
sure.
I was getting worked.
Yeah,
you excited for that Minecraft movie?
It's kind of hard when you ain't
Minecraft movie, April 4th. 2025,
yeah.
Jack Black stars in it.
Like
I'm excited.
Doing nice peaks and stuff. Like you're forced to like hold an angle, which is something you don't really do, is it? This is like the most congested part of the map. Like, this little area right here is actually so bad to go into. Do you have any tips for like fighting?
Okay, well this is supposed to be about the peak was boo boo. I don't know which one you're talking about, Charleezy. Let's hear the offer. Let's hear the offer. It's about the new meta, so I'm gonna save these videos for tomorrow. Watch this now.
Alright guys, we're gonna get started. If everyone's ready, we're good. If people need to join after, then they can join after. We are recording. If someone wants to take notes, I think everybody should be taking notes, but if someone's going to be taking notes and you feel like you have a good set of notes for the session, then feel free to send it to me after in DMs, and I'll be using that to summarize for people who missed the session. So the first thing that I want to talk about, or actually let me just do it the usual way I do it, which is I ask you guys questions just so it's more interactive. What do you guys believe is the biggest difference between the shotguns of this season compared to last season? What do you feel like?
What kind of customization, Catherine?
I'm curious if someone's gonna get it. Damage to builds, fire rates, those are differences, but not the one I'm looking for. Can't jump in. Pull out delay. Very good. Very, very good.
What kind of customization?
Yes, that's also the most consequential difference. It's the most important difference that people need to recognize. Because Gatekeeper last season, although it was fire rate, fire rate's really, really good. I think the biggest thing about last season is the shotgun pull-out time was really low. You could pull out shotgun super fast, right? Now, in this season, shotguns do not pull out as fast as they do compared to the previous season. And the reason why that's important, it's really important, by the way, it's one of the most important stats, if you will, for a shotgun, is because when you edit or try to shoot somebody, you need to pull it out, and now it's really, really long. A lot of people are gonna look at this and be like, "Oh, it's a bad thing. Like it's harder to use your shotguns." I actually think it's a good thing. And the reason why it's a good thing is because everything that I talk about in terms of fighting and how to fight properly, in terms of diagonal box fighting and using your resets to shoot reset, it just allows you to play more fundamentally. And if you ever remember Noah Riley in his prime, which was chapter 2 and chapter 3,
I'm actually in the market right now, so it's good timing that you messaged me. Normally I'd say no, but I am in the market. So essentially here, let's see here. You see this background right here on my screen currently. Oh, it went away. How much are your emotes? So let's just start with some emotes, because I am looking for some emotes right now. I need about 6 of them. Um, Let me just put my face up. That way I can hide this. Okay, there we go. All right, yeah. Just how much would like 6 emotes be before I even give you my information? Because I don't know about that, but how much would like 6 of them be? Just like 6 emotes. So we got a Charlize. I don't know if you're still watching. We got a tournament tomorrow, 21 hours, 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. I don't just like want to give away my fucking Discord like that. Not gonna lie. Yeah, nah. I'm gonna have to just say no, thank you. I guess I appreciate you taking your time, but if you need my Discord, like you could send a yeah, just send a link or something. Maybe I'll check it out. I appreciate you. You could just tell me how much money it would be to do about 6 of them. Then maybe I'll think about it, But yeah, now back to the stream. So tomorrow, 21 hours, top 33 advance. Hogwarts Graphics World '09. She liked Harry Potter, but I literally have a copy of Harry Potter on my desk. I have to support now. So let's see here. Yeah, I'll message you after the stream probably. I'll be in touch. I'll be in touch for sure. After seeing your name, Hogwarts, we'll be in touch. Have a good night. Thank you. I appreciate you. All right, now back to the stream. Oh my God, he doesn't know if he's gonna make it. Oh my God.
was really, really, really good at abusing shotgun delay. When you pull out your shotgun, there was a huge time back then, and now since we're in chapter 2, it's the same. And the reason why Noah really was so good is because he abused gun swap delay. So how do you abuse gun swap delay? How do you abuse... Does anyone have ideas? Like, what are you supposed to do to make sure your gun swap delay is your advantage? Right? Yeah, exactly, Matthew. You edit, reset, you abuse that. You need to make sure you do have more time to line up your shot. That's true. One thing that I think people don't recognize is, let's say you edit on somebody and they're also pulling out your shotgun. Let's talk about this. This is actually an important idea. Let me start screen sharing. You guys can see my screen, right? Let's say you own a wall between you and your enemy, right? You own a wall between you and your enemy. You can unironically, you can edit on them and then gauge or try to see who pulled out their shotgun first. Okay. Now, the reason why that's important, let me just make sure I'm on East here because I was just doing a Europe session. Okay. The reason why that's important is because you can decide then between two plays, right? You can either edit, shoot, reset. This is a situation where you own the wall. Or you can edit, reset, hold, edit, shoot. So this situation that I'm highlighting here is if you figured out you have shotgun out first. When you edit on them and you realize, hey, they're pulling their shotgun out over their shoulder and you're pulling your shotgun out over your shoulder, but you realize, because you're paying attention, right? And it's a long time, it's like 400 or 500 milliseconds. You realize your shotgun's coming out first. That means you should just do this play because your shot will happen before theirs and you can easily reset before their shotgun comes out and shoots you. So that means you're going to be able to block and you're going to be able to shoot. If enemy has shotgun out first, right? It's like a race. You can gauge it. You can look at it. If the enemy has a shotgun out first, when you go for the edit, you can bait as if you're going for a shot, reset the wall, so they end up shooting the wall. You hold it so it doesn't break, and then you immediately edit because they have shotgun cooldown. Does this make sense, guys? Does this part make sense to you? Does anybody have questions or is anybody confused about this?
No, hold up.
A lot of people just do this play on repeat without actually.
This right here is why Fortnite is the coolest game ever. I've sent you some of my recent work. Yeah, I'm gonna message you after the stream. I appreciate you. I'm trying to do something right now, but I appreciate you. Definitely gonna work together, don't you worry. We're gonna see what's up. We'll definitely get some quotes. But yo, this right here, what's on my screen right here is exactly why Fortnite is the best game in the world. Because there's so much to master. So much to master. Even just like understanding what your opponent is holding in his hand and like how long he's held it in his hand and what he just did with his weapon and just, oh my god. Like, what the, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's just so much. And then you got 1,000 other things to understand, so.
Actually checking to see if the enemy pulled out their shotgun. And that's a problem. That's not good. Because, like, why would you do that? You know? Because it's not always the case that when you edit on somebody, you have to peek them. People are so used to the days of Fortnite where peeks are like the only way that you can get an advantage on somebody. Peeks are an advantage, but they're not the only advantage.
Exactly.
Gun out first is another advantage.
Like, peeks is kind of like the old school way to think about it. If you really like start to use your fucking mind, like your frontal lobe, and you start using your brain, it's not just about like peeks. It's also about making your opponent do dumb things and controlling the flow of a fight. Like, peeks is just one part of controlling a fight. And so, yeah, gun out first. What your opponent even has in his inventory. What health is your opponent at?
Shotgun pullout time. And the only way you can actually check and guarantee this is not by just editing on someone right away. You have to actually look who pulled out their shotgun first, right? And then you have to choose in the moment between the two plays based on what's happening, right? So I'll just quickly show you the example. Like if I edit and you see, watch my shotgun animation, right? So it's not over the shoulder like it used to be, but you're pulling it out like this. I guess I have a hammer. That's probably why. Is there a pump here? Yeah, let's use the spaz and the regular pump. It is over the shoulder. Hammer gun pull-out time is actually fast. Look how long this takes. Now, one thing I want you guys to keep in mind. This is the thing that people...
And even just like watching this video, like I'm going to rewind it 10 seconds. Even just remembering that the shotgun comes out over your shoulder now. It's just like one little small detail that this is why we VOD review, because now you kind of have a better feel for your shotgun just by watching this video. Because you're right, it does come over the shoulder, and that's how I used to line up shots. That's how I used to line up 200. You know what I mean? 200 just because it comes off the shoulder like a wow, like you're slapping someone in the fucking face. Pow. And the underhand one was the last pump, and that's why Cold was a goon, because Cold made it look like he was just flinging a yo-yo. That's why Cold was a goon, because oh, my camera's off, so you can't even see what I'm doing. Hold up. Cold used to whip it out like, okay, that sounds weird. Cold used to flip a yo-yo or like a Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why Cold was a goon, because he'd do it at it. But I was a goon because you just fucking slice their fucking head open. 200. So that's I forgot. And this video just reminded me.
Now, one thing I want you guys to keep in mind. This is the thing that people fail to do. So even if someone's actually doing what I'm saying here, they need to keep this other thing in mind as well. Peeker's advantage.
Right.
So on average,
this is about movement, because there's so many things that use the word peek, but peeker's advantage is just like who's moving into the shot basically, and who's standing still, and who's moving away from the shot.
People have like 30 ping, some people have 0, some people have 60, and some people have something in between. And what you see on your screen for their animation,
I'm gonna rewind it so you can see this whole clip.
So on average, people have like 30 ping. Some people have 0, some people have 60, and some people have something in between. And what you see on your screen for their animation is not actually what's happening on their screen. What you see on your screen for their animation is a little bit delayed. So let me ask you this. Let's say I edit on somebody, and we both have the same animation. Like, the enemy on the other end, right? Like, let's say I have the full box. And I'm doing like a wide edit because I'm going for the speed shot. Because it takes some time to set this up, and the disadvantage of this is that you're giving them more time to react. Yes, you have a peak, but if they're ready, they have more time to react, and you do this, they can just take your wall or whatnot, okay? But let's just say you're going for the fast edit, and you edit on them. And you notice that the animation for you and them is the same. It's the exact same. Meaning, you're pulling out your gun the exact same time as what you perceive them to be pulling out the gun. What does that mean in terms of who's going to shoot first? Who ends up shooting first in that instance, if you notice the animation is the same? Yes. Good. Because peeker's advantage. So there's some leeway. You have to give them a little bit of buffer. It needs to be so clear that you pulled out your shotgun first. Otherwise, you should always go for this play, which is, again, to show you what it looks like. It looks like this. They end up shooting the wall, and then you just go for the shot.
Oh my god, my mic was muted. I literally just fucking cooked. Regardless, what I said was edit, reset, hold is so important. And it's such a integral move for every box fighter's arsenal. Because some people are just greedy and they want to shoot first. You know, but sometimes shooting your shotgun early is not a good thing. Just ask your girlfriend. Kidding. But sometimes you want to, you know, take it easy and shoot at the right time.
For free. And the second edit, you can do like a wider edit because the disadvantage.
Exactly. And you're allowed to do a wide edit simply because they can't shoot you with their shotgun. There's a cooldown. They got shotgun lock is what it's called. Their gun is locked until it reloads or like the next bullet enters the chamber. Shotgun lock. So you can do a wide edit so you can get a guaranteed headshot. 200, reset, hold. He's going to shoot again and you can just combo and cycle that combo over and over and over. And I've said this on stream before, but that combo is what makes Fortnite the best fighting game in the game. Is you can literally do that on this wall and then he's got shotgun lock, but you can run around this side and do it right here so you can get even closer to your enemy or like whatever, you know.
Of the peekers is that if they move there, you can't easily access them. So if you
Exactly. And since they're shotgun locked, they're going to hide. So you need to do a wide edit that way they can't hide.
bait them and you do an edit, reset, hold because you feel like they're going to shoot you, then you should probably do top row edit because like what's the threat? Like they don't have their shotgun shot anymore. Like what? They're going to SMG you? Am I really scared of them SMGing you? The only time you should be really scared of them SMGing you is you're 1 HP, right? But if
I will say in box fights, they're just going to edit their cone. Like I think in ranked and in tournaments, yes, this is the move, but in box fights, they just flip their cone every time. Or I mean, either way, they edit their cone, either go down or go out the back or sides. But
if you're full HP like I am right here, then doing top row makes perfect sense. And they can't really abuse
and if you're in this situation, that's what you should do, by the way.
your wall.
Just like in chess, if you're in a certain situation, sometimes there's only one particular move that gets you out of that situation. And understanding both sides of the coin is important. Because in chess, if you just know one side of the coin, if you only know how to play black in chess, well, what happens when you get made to play white, you know, and you have to move first because white moves first in chess? Well, it's the same thing in Fortnite. If you only know how to play defensive, if you only know how to play black, because black is technically always on defense because they get to move second, well, then you'd only know half the game and you're going to lose half your games just right off that. So very interesting dynamic. And this is why Fortnite is the best game ever created. And I will probably die saying that. It's better than chess. Chess is really good, but this is 3D chess. You know, you're taking squares. In chess, you're trying to take squares away from your opponent. In Fortnite, you're trying to take squares away from your opponent. Except this one is three-dimensional.
By running to certain corners because you can see them no matter what. You should really take your time to line up your shot after that because gun stop delay is long and you should be pretty free to hit the shot. All of that makes sense, guys? I don't understand. Okay, let's explain that again because I really want people to understand. I'm sure it's not just Limo, there's more other people. So if you're editing on somebody and the gun animation is the same for you and them, you should assume that it's too close to call and they're probably going to end up shooting you first because peeker's advantage. There's latency in the game. Internet ping makes it so that what you see on your screen for their for your opponent is not actually what they see on your screen, on their screen, right? So if you see the same animation, like you're pulling out your gun at the exact same time as them, they're going to shoot you first because what they see on their screen is they're actually pulling out their gun way faster. This is important. He's saying if you edit reset and the enemy shoots it, you can make a wide edit because yes, exactly. That's exactly right. That's true. That's true. everyone is so tunnel vision on the plays that they make, but that's not good. Fighting is like a martial art where you need to be constantly reevaluating what you need to be doing based on what you see on the opponent's end, right? If you just think like, oh, I have him full box, I'm just gonna do this no matter what, it's not good, right? Because you're not accounting for the fact that they have some plays that they could do in between as well. Like for example, if you do this and then they take the wall, you're mentally not even ready for the fact that the correct response is to clone flip right away because you didn't consider it. You're
I promise I did not pre-watch this shit. What is the date? 11/15/17. Wait, no, 11/15/2024. Yeah, see, I didn't pre-watch this shit. See, I mean, this was 4 days ago, but I didn't.
you're so linear. Like you're just thinking of one possible play, but there's so many things that could happen during that, right? As you're editing, watch your opponent. Are they going to this corner? Are they going out here? Are they sprinting forward? Maybe they're trying to get inside your box as because they predicted you're at it. You need to be watching your opponent. This goes into the next topic, which is you need to be really good mechanically in order to notice all these things. Because if you're not good mechanically, let me give you an analogy. Let's say you're riding a bicycle, right? You're not going to be really aware. Let's say you're riding a bicycle and you're having a conversation with somebody. That's really hard if you're not that good at riding a bicycle. But if riding a bicycle is something that's so natural to you, it's kind of like walking, right? You've been riding bikes for 3-4 years, and it's something that just comes naturally where you can turn your brain off, you just do it, right? But if you just started out, you're not going to be able to even have a conversation with somebody else because your brain is overloaded. Your brain is occupied with trying to balance the bike. In Fortnite, your mechanics is the bike. Your mechanics are balancing the bike. How in the world are you supposed to be watching your opponent and paying attention to what they're doing if you're not mechanically competent and doing all of these things is not second nature to you? How are you going to pay attention to them? You can't. And so when everyone like I'm always asked this question, right? Like, oh, how am I supposed to improve my awareness? You don't improve awareness by trying to be more aware. You improve your awareness by reducing your brain load. And the way you do that is by practicing more and more and upping your volume on your.
That's facts, though. You don't improve awareness by just becoming more aware. You improve awareness by taking things out of your awareness. You know, if that makes sense. You're thinking about less. When you think about being aware, it's actually about being extremely calm and like just, I mean, not to bring like Naruto into it, but just like completely just like, oh, there's a guy behind me. Oh, there's this, you know what I mean? But if you're thinking about, oh, how do I hold a wall and do a triple edit and da 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 da, well, you're not thinking about just total silence and just thinking, oh, there's a guy behind me. So yeah, you just have to be completely guru with this shit. That's why I say guru now, because I think that shit's funny.
Your mechanics. The same thing goes for endgame. Like, how am I supposed to play endgame more? How am I supposed to be more aware?
Like an absolute guru is just like, you know, he's guru with it. Just
sounds and everything that's happening to me. How am I supposed to be thinking about the macro of endgame and like when I should be taking height? One way to do that is improving your game sense, but the best way to do that is improving your mechanics and making sure your mechanics are really, really solid to the point where you don't have to think about them, so that you can ride your bike while having the conversation with the person next to you. Make sense? You need to be able to really make all of this stuff second nature so that you can pay attention to your opponent. You have to be watching them. If you can't watch your opponent while you're fighting, it's like dribbling a soccer ball while looking at the ball. You're blind. Right? How the hell are you supposed to know which way to dribble if you can't see the players and the obstacles in front of you?
Man, let this guy cook. You're dribbling the ball. You got to shoot the ball against the goalie. This is the best goalie in the league. I do this shit. You're running up. This goal is to win the World Cup. Messi? Who the fuck is Messi? And you're about to shoot the ball, but then you think, I have to look down to see where the ball is. Oh my God, you're a bot. What do you mean you have to look down at the ball? What the fuck? No, you gotta be looking at your target. You gotta know exactly what your target is doing. You need to be able to smell his fucking dinner from last night type shit. You know what I mean? You need to know what his mama likes to eat on a Sunday afternoon. Like, you know what I mean? You need to read him like a book. You need to read him like the first fucking chapter of Harry Potter. You know what I mean? Just read him like a book. But you're fucking looking at the ball. You're looking at the ball because you haven't been practicing your triple edits, bro. You're looking at the ball because you don't even know how to reset hold a wall properly. You're looking at the ball. Oh, hell no.
Right? So, really important, make sure you're mechanically competent and always be training your mechanics perpetually, which basically means like forever.
Perpetually?
Even
Oh
if you
my
think you're good
God.
mechanically, you can always get better to the point where it
I
becomes
love
second
that
nature,
word. Perpetually.
right? So, any questions
my
so
God, he
far on
said
everything we
boom.
talked about so far, guys? All right. Now, one thing that someone has talked about in the past, and I think it's an important thing to keep in mind, is paying attention to what guns your opponent has or what things they have. Okay? So, for example, if you notice that someone cracked you and they don't grapple towards you when they key you, you know they don't have a grappler and you do. So, if he's keying you, one way you can actually get a lot of heals off is by making distance. So, let's say enemy smacks this wall, I spanned out here, right? And I because I know how they approached me, they ran over to me instead of grappling. I have a suspicion that they don't have a grappler, but I do. Let's say I have a grappler. Then they smack this wall, right? I'm just gonna grapple away, because one of the biggest ways to heal is distance. If you just grapple away twice or whatever, maybe you just do like something like this, right? Quickly block their angles off and just grapple away. Maybe once or twice, and then box up there. Then you're gonna be able to.
Classic block your back. Shit. I need to get that shit tatted on my forehead. Block your back. I am so bad at that.
Pop heals off because he has to run to you. You know, they have to run over to you. So pay attention to the different ways you can disengage by paying attention to what they have. If they have a grapple and you have a grapple, it's probably not worth trying to do that because they're just going to grapple after you. Okay? That goes into like the next topic, which I believe is making sure you're super aware. One of the best ways to prevent a fight from happening is by preventing the beam from happening in the first place. If someone beams you guys, it is really hard to fix it after that's already done. If someone beams you for 150 and then you're VOD beaming with me and you're like, how am I supposed to win against this guy? I can help you with that. I can definitely tell you different ways you can fight against somebody who's full HP and you're 50 HP. But the best, most impactful thing you can do is prevent that beam from happening in the first place. Do your best to not get beamed in the first place. That's usually the best thing you can do. It's the most impactful thing you can do.
If you're getting beamed, you're selling. What the fuck are you doing? I was watching the Trio Cash Cup yesterday. Oh my God. Some of these kids are fucking dumb as hell. Like, someone is shooting at you. Like, please just build. I don't know. If you don't know how to build in 2024, like if you're dying to an AR, you're actually like fucking awful at the game. I can't even lie. If you die to an AR mid game or late game, you are fucking ass.
React quicker. Don't get hit as hard. Don't even let them shoot you in the first place by being constantly aware.
I mean, maybe a triple AR, like a 1, 2, 3 in a trio game, like the only time you can die to an AR. You die pretty quick if 3 people are shooting a fucking AR at you.
And paranoid as you're running around the map. Use lines of sight like mountains and trees. Right? So, all of those things are important to keep in mind. Does anyone have any questions before the next topic? I'll give you guys like a minute. Right hand versus top row. Yeah, top row is really useful if you know you have some sort of advantage that allows you to shoot first. So shotgun cooldown. So in the previous example where I mentioned they shot the wall. So if you do this, they shoot the wall because you baited an edit and then go for this. Top row is really useful because you know you're going to be able to shoot them first. This is really good if you know they're looking at you. Like, again, if you're paying attention to your opponent and you full box them and you see them with their shotgun out looking, a peek counters a shotgun shot, right? A peek can counter somebody who's waiting for you to edit. But if someone's threatening to run away, let's say you don't have them full blocked, but you own the wall, and they edit this way, a peanut butter isn't really good to go after someone who's editing out because you notice how it's awkward to see them. So when you notice them, you're paying attention, you see their face, and you see them turn to the left over here, and they start running. Just do top row because it exposes more of them, and you're not actually you're not under threat because they're running, they're tack sprinting out, right, and they're not looking at you. So you do top row to access more of the box because this blocks this section, right? So you do top row to really make sure. Also, if they're really up against the wall, sometimes you can do top row because you can just see their head. And notice how when top row happens and they're like this, they can't really shoot you without jumping. So there's certain angles like or situations where top row is better than right hand. This situation is sometimes good, guys. Believe it or not, this edit to shoot somebody is sometimes good. And the reason why is because if they're pickaxing your wall, right, they expect you to do this. So they're pickaxing like here. So you do this and they start pickaxing the literal air. Does that make sense? So like you purposely edited a reverse peanut butter to make their pickaxe hit nothing so that you can actually shoot them for free. Right? So let's talk about like, I'm going to write this down. Again, same situation. They own the wall. So they could be holding shotgun. Peek
like
them.
so bad
They
it
could
works.
be pickaxing your wall. And even like this is so crucial. Like so many people don't do this. When they're pickaxing your wall, pay attention to where they're pickaxing your wall. If they're pickaxing your wall here, I do peanut butter because then their second pickaxe misses the wall. It's hard for them to hit it. If they pickaxe here because they expect you to do peanut butter, you can do this, and it throws them off guard. If they're not doing either and they're running away, running out of box, trying to get out, wide edit, top row. If they're holding shotgun, you have all the time in the world. Peek them. If they're pickaxing your wall, try to make them pickaxe nothing. Because then it's like catching them with their pants down, right? Like they're gonna pickaxe this, the thin air, and then you have a shotgun in their face while they have a pickaxe out. It's a free shot.
Fire.
So you have to be able to freestyle in a fight. It just feels like when I try to do that, I mess up. Well, this is why practice is important. You're not going to be able to think of all of these things that I'm talking about. Notice how I'm writing a law here, right? Like there's no way my brain processes all of this. But by practicing against somebody who challenges you on these things and being conscious of it in the first place, it will eventually become subconscious, which basically means you're going to be able to do this automatically without thinking. Like, do you really think when we're riding a bicycle, we're thinking, oh, I need to move the handlebars to the left to balance, to counteract the fact that I'm falling to the right? No, we don't. We don't think that. We just, our hands are moving by themselves. It feels like we're possessed. And how do you become possessed? How do you make it automatic? Practice. Same with walking. Yeah, the hell? You think I'm thinking, oh, my heel needs to land first, then my toes? Like, no, it doesn't. I know this looks complicated, but we're going to eventually get to the point where this is not happening in your head. It's just happening. You're thinking like, oh, he's doing this, I'm going to do this. Because I've seen this situation so many times in the past. And so then it becomes natural. Like, you really think when pros do all the things that they're doing, they're thinking consciously? No, they're not. They're not. Everyone has this perception sometimes where they think like the pros are just constantly, like their brains are running rapid fire. No, they just practice so much that all of it goes in the background. It should happen because you drilled it. Exactly. I'm just explaining how things work so that you can understand it, so that you can drill it. And then if
Forgot about that word. I'm gonna actually put that in my notes. You know, I didn't really take any notes this whole stream. That word is so good. Oh my god. We got vocab right here. I got a little vocab section. That word is so good. Drill. It's been a while since I've said that word in that context. But drills. You know, when I was in the sports, what would we do? We'd be doing drills. Oh, let's do drills. You know what I mean? Ground balls, pop flies, and basketball, 3-pointer, free throw drills, layup drill. You know what I'm saying? Lacrosse, shooting, baseball. You know, we're doing home run derby drill. We're doing, you know what I'm saying? I already said pop flies, whatever. So in Fortnite, it's the same shit. You got to just be ready for common situations and be a guru at this shit. Like, I actually have 2 words I want to write down. What have you perfected? That's really the question. Like, in what area have you perfected something? Like, I'd say Charlize damn near perfected his shotgun aim. And I say damn near because, you know, he's not dropping, you know, a 30 bomb. But, and he's not on a PC. But if he, you know, locks in, he could damn near perfect his shotgun aim. Like, I've never seen that guy miss a shotgun shot. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I haven't perfected anything. I'll be honest. Like, there's so much I need to work on. All around, I'm ass. But what have you perfected is such a good question. I heard someone say this morning. I was like listening to some show. I don't even remember. And I just remember them saying perfected. I was like, that's a good word. Also, drills. That's such a good word because they kind of go hand in hand. Because if you're not doing drills, what are you perfecting? You know, if you're not doing drills. Because there's the saying where it's like 1,000 kicks is scary. But the man that practices 1 kick 1,000 times is devious. I don't know. I'm paraphrasing. It's some shit like that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the art of war type shit. Where it's like, oh no, it's I don't fear the man that knows 1,000 kicks. I fear the man that's done 1 kick 1,000 times or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's really what it is. Is like, what are you drilling? Have you drilled 1,000 fucking full box 200s? You know what I mean? Have you drilled 1,000 box fights? Like, that's what I'm doing right now. You know, and that's really kind of where that whole thing came from, where it's like 1,000 is really kind of that number. 10,000 is also another one of those numbers where you just kind of got to hit. You just got to fucking hit that shit. You know, you just got to drill. So drills and perfected, 2 words I want to just write down. I'll fill in the definitions later, but that just got me fucking hyped.
Eventually make it automatic. It should, if you have to think about all of this stuff while you're fighting in a real tournament, it just means you didn't practice, you didn't do the studying, you didn't practice enough, right? You didn't actually put in the time to make it automatic. That's why it feels so awkward.
Yep.
When you have someone pieced, isn't a low edit the best? Yeah, so if you have someone pieced and it's as if you want to shoot their leg and they're like really close to the wall. If you want to shoot their leg, notice how they can't see you, but you can see their leg.
Damn, that guy just kind of shit on him though. He's like, but technically, isn't this the best edit? Damn, that's why Fortnite is so crazy, because there is different options where it's like, that is actually the best edit, but they're gonna pickaxe your wall, and that's kind of what he was saying.
If they're really close, you can even do it here maybe sometimes. So again, it's situational. Guys, if Fortnite was a game where one edit was the best answer all the time, there would not be top players. It's not that simple, right? It depends on where they're standing. So if they're standing here...
Exactly. That's such a good point, too. I know I keep pausing it, but there's a reason there's top players. There's a reason why in chess, Magnus Carlsen is the world champion all the time, and it's not even up for debate. There's a reason why Peter Bot has gone back to back, and then he wins the World Cup, like back to back to back. Like, that's insane if you really think about it. Yeah, and he got second in the season before that, so he's just, you know, there is kind of just a skill gap, and you just got to be good at all of these things. You got to perfect everything. Peter Bot has perfected everything.
And really close to your wall, like they're standing right here. Makes perfect sense to do something like this because they won't be able to see you. You can shoot them, right? And if they're standing here, you can do the same thing. Windows are okay, but I'm not a huge fan of windows because sometimes how do I word this? Windows are a little bit awkward sometimes because notice how most of the wall is still here. So the pickaxes are it's still possible to pickaxe the wall really easily, and you have to be in the perfect spot to actually shoot them. And sometimes if you make a window and then they're like already moving out of the way, you don't even get a free shot. Windows are good sometimes, but I just think for beginners and intermediate players, they're not recommended in my opinion. You'll see pros do it sometimes, but most of the time, if you watch like Donnie or like other people who play the game, they make bigger edits. They just selectively make bigger edits for the right situations. What if they're diagonal from the box, like right here?
Yeah, that's true.
If you're defensively box fighting and they're
Pros do bigger edits.
pickaxing your wall, in my opinion, in this situation, the best edits to make is this one, because their pickaxe will hit nothing if they're pickaxing. You just have to be really good at timing it, because this edit doesn't work if they have their shotgun out. Let me be clear. This situation that's happening is happening because you're probably lower on HP, or you're trying to play defensive. That's why it's defensive box fighting, right? You're in this situation defensively, they're right-handing you, etc. If they're holding their shotgun out like this, why do you have to edit on them? Just heal. If you have to heal, heal. If you want to run, run. They're giving you time. You realize them shotgunning you is not a threat. Like, holding a shotgun like this is not a threat. It's only a threat if you actually choose to edit. So if you see them doing this, like you're looking through the wall and you see the enemy just holding shotgun, just don't do anything. The answer is to do nothing. Just don't edit on them.
Yeah,
wait
just
until they
make
pull out
more
the pickaxe and then
space
edit like that.
heal, yeah.
Right? Or just threaten to pop a mini, which will then force them to pressure you, which will then, you can respond by editing on them. Pickaxing tops with the safe peanut butter peak. Okay, so that's a good question. If your enemy is pickaxing your tops, what's the downside of them pickaxing your top? There's a disadvantage to them pickaxing your top.
I'm gonna say, if they're pickaxing your top, you can jump out the side and get a free shot.
Anyone see it? Go through 2 layers. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. What does that give you guys? If they have to break 2 layers instead of 1 on a wall, what does that give you?
Time.
You can edit on them? I don't recommend that. Time. Yes, it gives you time. Which means you can do stuff with that time. You can edit out this way. Now, if you have the option, if they're up above you, I always say this rule, expansions should be in the opposite direction of where they're at, and that works in 3 dimensions. So if they're above you, go down. You realize, like, yes, they're this way, you can still go here, because that's like opposite almost. But the issue with that is it's actually really easy to reach. Let's say this didn't exist, right? It's actually really easy for them to reach from even here to piece you. Whereas if you drop, as long as they don't piece you, right? Like by dropping 2, you should be fine. So if you can drop, then you should drop. If you don't have the option to drop because you're on ulti low, then by all means you can do something like this. Just be careful. Okay, so how do I make sure I don't get pieced but I'm expanding? You realize you can make boxes without stepping in them, right? Make the box, don't step into them. Because then you'll see, like, hey, is this piece editing by itself? That's probably not mine. Right? So then you don't need to go forward. Like, you just make the box, check, then continue, and then heal here if you want. You can be in a 2x1 already. Guys, I'm going to be very honest with you. Very, very honest. I actually think 2x1s are very overrated. Stupidly overrated. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm saying they're overrated. I think people think 2x1s make them invincible. 2x1s are very useful. Like, for example, if I did this, and I stand in the middle, like right here, and I start healing, and someone pickaxes my wall, like, they have to pick a wall to pickaxe, right? They're going to pick probably the closest one. Let's say they start pickaxing here. All I do to make it really awkward for them and buy myself more time is step into this box, right? And if they think, oh my god, he's going to step into the box, I'm going to come over here and start pickaxing this one. Okay, no problem. Look how little I have to move to make even like another box. That's why 2x1s are useful. But don't take the time to like do this. Like, you're wasting so much time you could be using to heal. And you don't know which wall they're going to be pickaxing. So just make your 2x1 quickly, right? Whatever. And then start healing and see which wall they aggress on. They will usually choose the closest one. Then you can just quickly take a step back, and now it's really awkward. Like, yeah, they own this wall, but look where you are. You just keep healing here. I think overbuilding your initial box is very overrated, because most of the time, if you, let's say you build a brick or metal 2x3, right? Like, doing this, in my opinion, is not good. I'll tell you why. Don't get me wrong, it's gonna work. It's gonna work, and they're gonna disengage. But then you just lost a shit ton of mats. You lost so much mats. You spent a lot of time at the beginning of the fight trying to build this box. They, most of the time, if they're smart, will just leave you alone. But then you lost 200-300 wood brick or metal. I think if you're like 1 HP because you made the mistake of getting beamed that hard, yeah, you could just build this. But If I'm the aggressive player and I beamed you for 190, I'm jumping in. I'm not worrying about builds anymore. Like, this doesn't stop me from just trying to get in, right? It doesn't stop me from trying to get in. So I highly recommend, guys, just make a 2x1. Honestly, just make a 2x1. Start healing, see what they do, and respond appropriately. There's no such thing as a fight where you can just make one play for every single fight and get away with, you know, that one play. You have to be receptive to what your opponent's doing, right? Like, let's say you get hit for 50 and you build this crazy snake grid with a 2x3 out of brick. And the guy was never planning on keying you in the first place. You just wasted so much time because you used 300 brick to make this 2x3 when the guy, like, you just hurt yourself. Start with the 1x1 if you got hit for 50. See what the enemy's doing, right? Start healing. And the enemy starts pushing you. Okay, then I choose to expand, right? A lot of people unironically kill themselves in solo cash cups by doing that. They actually, in endgame, for example, they get hit once, right? Then they immediately make a 2x1 in endgame, 2 boxes, and burn literally 20 builds, 16 to 20 builds by doing this. But the guy just hits you once, like he's not even planning on keying you. Why not just make one box, see what's happening, and then choose what to do next? Most people play the game like this. This is their pathway in terms of the decision tree, right? How it should be done. If this happens, then I'm going to make these plays. Does that make sense? You need to have options because you're going to just kill yourself if you keep making the safest play. The safest play is actually hurtful. The safest play is only required if you need the safest play because they're actually keying you. Now, let's say they beam you for 190. Yeah, I'm going to make a lot of space, right? Like, because I'm scared. Like, I don't want to risk. Like, sure, I'll deal with the fact that I can farm the 300 brick after because I'm so low. I don't want to risk dying. But if they beam you for 50, stop being so scared. You're actually hurting yourself. Most of the time when someone hits me once or twice, I unironically will just make one wall, do this, threaten to shoot them back a little bit, and then just wait and see what they're doing, and then run away. Meanwhile, everyone's boxing up, not threatening to shoot back or at all, because they got hit once. And then what ends up happening is the psychos that key you, no matter what, because you chose to box up and not threaten to fight them back at all, they start working on your walls. But if you get shot, and then you threaten to shoot back a little bit, and you're not actually trying to kill them, like you're just trying to threaten them, show them that you're not actually scared of fighting them back, and then run, it's a lot more complicated for them. They become a lot more hesitant to key you. Do some damage back, guys. You know how it feels like when you get shot, right? It feels like the world's ending. Like, oh, I literally jump out of my seat. Like, oh my god, I just got hit for 50. The bullets hitting my body is crazy, and like I'm just scared. So imagine what that feels like for your opponent. So if you actually threaten to shoot back and you force them to build, that sometimes is the best defense. Don't be so scared. If you're the timid person that just cannot shoot back, then it's gonna be tough. Now, it's not as simple as just shooting back all the time, right? Because again, nothing in Fortnite is that simple. Because if you just shoot back all the time, like you get hit for 150, you try to shoot back. Like they might just AR battle you because you're so low. Again, everything is situational in this game. Everything needs some thinking. You need to be flexible. I think we do it because we get nervous. Yeah, and the other person can tell. They can tell. Now, is it right for them to just key you all the time? No, I don't think so. But they will do it. People will do it. Yes, exactly. Like, every decision is complicated. Try not to play the game in such a linear fashion. Think. Right? And by thinking, you'll get better at thinking. Because you force your thinking muscle to work, you will get better at thinking. And then eventually, you'll become intuitive about the game because you've tried to think. Right? Try not to like respond the same way all the time. Dude. Sometimes it's best if someone shot you from really far away or whatever, go for that and just start grappling away. Sometimes distance is the best defense. If you make it really inconvenient for the other guy to fight you, he will just give up. They will just give up. Thoughts on this? You should be able to react before you get... Yeah, 100%. I mean... It depends on how good their aim is, but yeah, you should definitely minimize the damage you take. The best... Like, a lot of people try to react to getting shot, but I think the best way to prevent all of this is to spot them before they spot you. If you spot them before they spot you, you can prevent the initial beam from happening in the first place. You recording? Yep. Okay. Cool. Now, let's talk about aim duels. Because everyone in this season is not actually taking advantage of the fact that ARs are stupidly strong right now. You could beam people for so much, whether that be mid-game, and if you need a refresh or whatever, end-game, because of the fact that you can beam people through the air, grapplers or whatever. Aim duel. Aim duel, but don't just do shotgun, use your AR. I actually think aim duel priority should be like this. Right now, shotgun is highest, because shotgun is usually highest. It's actually AR, not SMG. And then it's SMG. You need to be prioritizing these two. These are so important. Because most people's loadout in solo cash grips and other formats is AR shotgun. AR shotgun. Right? So, practice it. If you have an AR all the time in Fortnite because of the season and the meta, you better be good at ARing. It is so easy to beam people if you practice. Right? You just need to practice. And aim duels are stupidly good for that. Guys, whenever I had a student of mine who struggled with their AR aim, we would just go hit search tags in Raiders aim duel map and just completely fixing their aim within like 2 weeks. It's so strong to aim duel. Thoughts on carrying a minigun over AR if you get one? Yeah, it's good. It's definitely good. What do you think about the meta change? I mean, I think it's just a meta, you know. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's imbalanced. I don't think it's bad at all. I think grapple is good. Grapple's good. If you have a lot of shocks, sure you could use that, but grapple's good. Shocks can be good in trios. They can definitely be good in trios. You can do the shockwave shot where, yeah, exactly. You shockwave people above you. One guy shockwaves up, drops the people above you that are box above you into your box because it breaks all the builds, and then your duo will fight them, and then you can fall and help them after. Bounce pads are okay because they don't take up a slot. You definitely keep them, but you're slowly moving through the air. You know, so it's a target to get beamed. Martel strats, yeah. No, the thing is, that strat has been running since Chapter 2, like the original Chapter 2. People have been doing it for a long time. Chapter 3, Chapter 4. People have been doing that shockwave shot for a long time. Bounce pad shockwaves are so good. Yeah, you can combine that. Yeah, true. Normal grapple for sure. Absolutely. Any questions before the next topic? So, let's talk about height, guys. I think height and fighting on height is important because I actually think height in solos is a little bit awkward. Try not to take it in solos. It's a little bit awkward. I think in round 2 you should take it, but at the right time because everyone's grapples up. Everyone grapples up. So if you want to get grief, take height early and then you'll lose the game. But height in trios should be good. But again, same idea. If you take it early, it's gonna be awkward. But listen, like if you take height early in trios, but you can pay attention to the people that are threatening to grapple, you should be good. Height in trios is way better than height in solos. Solos, it's a little bit hard to defend because you're just an individual, and if 2 people want to grapple up at the same time, by chance, it's over. So, you know. Ideal loadout? What game mode? I think solos is grapple, 2 guns, 2 heals. Yeah. You can run tac if you want. So you can run medkits. But yeah. I don't know what the high-low scenario is, to be honest with you. Yeah, the loadout's probably not your problem. Like if you're running 2 guns, 2 heals, and grapple in solos, and you have really good heals, like, bigs are super important, guys. Bigs are crucial. Like there's like 2 types of heals, right? Like the minis, and then there's the like the swordfish bigs. Like those heals are super important. Just running minis is not that good. You should definitely have them, but it's not. Bigs are super good. If I had an option to run 6 bigs, actually, would I run that? 6 bigs over minis bigs? It depends. I mean, nah, you'd probably run minis bigs. I think it's fun. You're above and the opponent is below, and you keep switching. Can help you. Yeah, exactly. Grapple. Yeah, I think if it replicates a grapple scenario, then it would be good. Yeah, 6 bigs is good. It's definitely good. It's rare to find, but it's good. It's not bad at all. Guys, let me ask you guys a question. Be honest with me. What is your average realistic time? What I mean by realistic is like how many hours a day on average do you practice realistics? Be honest with me. Be honest with yourself. Holy fuck. Okay, do you think that's a problem? Yeah, realistics, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna ask. I don't see your full name, Z. The guy who said last season I spent like 5 hours a day in realistics. Did you get better? And are you happy with the fact that you practice 5 hours? It's a lot of time, don't get me wrong. I don't even recommend 5 hours a day. But I'm just gonna ask you, did you get better? I got a lot better at knowing how to fight when my mechs are lacking. Yeah. I recommend like 2 to 3 hours a day, if you have the time. It depends on each person's individual like schedule, but 2-3 hours a day is a really good spot to realistic. I'm not even kidding. Like, guys, if you're playing 0 to 1 hours, I think that's bad. I don't think that's good. I also think you should probably stay away from ranked if you have a good partner in realistic waiting for you, because realistics, it is so good. You need a good partner, and realistics will be the highest value thing you can do. Speed realistics, any realistics, it's up to you. Just make sure it has the same shotguns as the meta. The map doesn't matter. It just doesn't have the shotgun. Let's do speed realistics. Yeah, that's the most popular one. I only play Fortnite for like 4 hours. 30-minute warm up, hour and a half realistics, 2 hours scrim, something like that. Should be fine. You have 4 scrims a day. You have a good amount of realistics, and your warm ups is good as well. Yeah, dude, realistic. But again, I keep making this analogy. I'm going to say it again, okay? When you practice realistics, you're not doing it so you can go fight everybody in the tournament. You're doing it so you can defend yourself and hold your own, and you have self-defense capabilities. But you're also improving your mechanics so your end games get better. How long should I play a day? I think like 3-4 hours minimum is necessary. If you want to actually get something good out of this game. Yeah, Cards today got 4 kills in an entire round 1 and got 200 points. Like, it's obvious to me, and it should be obvious to you, that placement is king. It still is. And what that means is your fighting is used as a self-defense tool, not to go key somebody else. People are like, oh, I don't have a grapple. Like, I gotta go fight. Like, no, you don't. You don't. You may find it later, because most of the time in this meta, people run out of mats really quickly. So people are, like, really scuffed. So you can just go kill someone with an AR. Like, you're fine. Like, be very careful. Be very careful about just taking a fight because you need something. Is reload worth the time? I don't think so. I mean, listen, there is a balance to be found. If you really don't like the game that much to be grinding realistics for 2-3 hours a day, then it just makes sense to me that you should be doing something that you enjoy to some degree, because then at least you'll play. But if you feel like you can discipline yourself to, and it's really not that hard, guys, I swear to God, if you want to be good, like badly enough, you'll do anything. You just don't want it bad enough. And so stop thinking about the money too, because the money isn't like, no one really cares about $70. What the hell are you going to do with $70? Right? Like, you know, like after you make earns or whatever. Like it should be. It's not the $70 that people are chasing. It's the fact that they made money in Fortnite. That's what they're chasing. That at least that is a lot better than $70. Like I don't know. You should be grinding because you're competitive, not because it's like, you know, a $70 thing. But yeah. What else can we talk about? Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're playing for the money, you're gonna be. This is not a good way to make money, guys. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, if you want to make money, go get a job. It's so much faster. Yeah, exactly. How do you know if you're improving? I think the best gauge of whether you're improving in the things that actually matter is your placements. Your placements need to be getting better. It doesn't matter how you feel. Doesn't matter how things like appear to you. If your placements, and listen, like it doesn't matter if your placements aren't getting better week by week, because a week, like sometimes you have a bad tournament, sometimes you don't have a bad tournament, sometimes you have a great tournament. Like it's fluctuating, but overall, are you getting better and better placements? Placements is the best thing. Thing is, for some reason, I really want to grind. Every time I take break, I play better after my break. Do your hands get sore when you play a lot? I used to have the same problem because my hands would get sore, and then I would unironically just play like shit because my hands are sore. So just grind a lot when tournaments aren't running, and like reduce your volume when tournaments are running, but still play obviously. But don't get to the point where your hands are super sore. I had the exact same problem. Yeah, wrist problems. Yeah. Yep. All right. Let me think about anything else that we need to talk about. We talked about AR aim. We talked about shock and delay. We talked about. Okay. The approach. Let's talk about this. Too many people, when they approach walls, let's say there's a box here off of someone you beamed, right? They'll just spam like this. Like, why are we spraying them as we're approaching, guys? What are the few objectives that we're trying to accomplish when we try to spray them like this? What are we doing? Not let heal. Okay, good. Okay, good. But let me ask you this. Do we want to waste our entire clip? Isn't having a relatively full clip in our AR really useful for the fight?
Yes.
Leave weak walls. Yeah. Leave it like this.
You want to see
Sometimes
through.
you can shoot it and watch what they're doing. Like, let's say I put...
Because if I know, I'm like, this is like Dora the Explorer. Like, where it's like, what do we click on? The map or the book? You know what I mean? But in reality, like, the reason you're trying to shoot at the wall is so you can see your opponent. And that way you can take the wall easier when you're close to the wall. And you can actually do something with that wall. From this distance, you can't take the wall, but you can at least track your opponent a lot easier if the wall is weak. Just answering the question.
2 bullets into it, and you see that they stopped healing. They pull out the blueprint again. Okay, don't shoot. You've achieved your objective. Just leave it weak, get closer, and then shoot on them. Right? Don't break the wall from here. Right? But the thing you have to be careful about, this is why it's situational, as you're approaching, by doing this strat, what are you susceptible to? Peaks. Yes, they can countershot you. Right? They can countershot you. Can we defend against that if we're ready? Yes. And then once they peek you, which is exactly what you're trying to bait because it leaves the weaker wall, right? When they do this, it's weak wall. You can just completely shut on them after. Time your approach by breaking their wall in a timely fashion. And please, guys, stop fighting like this. This is the only time this is acceptable, honestly, is endgame. Because there's so many boxes around you that you can only fight from your box, and you happen to be like this, and you notice someone's fighting below you or whatever, then you start taking their wall and hope their tops, and you hope they don't notice. But the downside of this in a mid game fight is so bad. Like you give them so much time to react to you, so they can come up with a proper play with the counter shot, or they can just leave. They can just expand. This is so bad. The only time it's good, guys, to take the top is if they for some reason made a box that's single layer on the top. Then you can do this, and you're fine, right? But most of the time, people don't do that anymore, and it's fine to just ignore the top. Just hit here. Look how fast that is. Right? Yes, yes. You don't want to waste ammo. Use your different guns. Yes, exactly. Ammo, guys, fighting, everyone thinks fighting is as simple as just doing damage, taking damage. It's tempo. Tempo basically means, like, how much energy do you have left? Like, you have... Because if you approach a wall like this, right? And you just spam it like this, because you're not thinking about how you should, then you have to spend time on reloading. You basically spend time on reloading, which gives them time to expand, gives them time to heal, right? Being swift is really important, which means not fucking up the wall take. Like, wall takes are already hard.
Swift, another amazing word. Zycoma with the fucking vocabulary, I swear, bro. What did he say earlier? Said some word that starts with P, but yeah, no, he's right. Swift is so important. I'm writing that word down. Just because, you know, in the midst of battle, sometimes you just gotta tell your team, hey, let's be swift with this. Swift maneuver, you know, nice and quick.
Because of ping, right? Imagine if you added the fact that you're not good at wall taking on top of that. Like, you keep messing up the timing, so you never end up getting it. So if you're not going into creative to, like, actually fix that, and being able to, like, properly wall take every time, right? And being able to hit this at it every time, or whatever you need to do. Like fighting is already hard as it is. Like, don't make it harder by having these issues, right? So yeah, changing tempo is powerful. Yeah, the idea is put an idea in their head that you're about to do something, and then do something else, right? So, like, by boxing up, let's say I box up, right? Someone smacks this wall, I play defensively. So I just put this idea in their head that I'm playing defensively. Then they come over here, and then I suddenly shoot them back. That's changing your pace, your style, right? Like, I just looked like I was really scared, and then I did this. You can do it in the reverse too. So if someone beams you, I start doing this. I shoot them back, and then instantly start running away. By the time they've realized that I'm not on that ramp anymore, I'm gone. Like, I'm over here. Because you just threw them off guard. The best analogy for this, guys, if you're on TikTok or you watch this trend, you know that trend on TikTok where it's like guess my next move, or you'll never guess my next move, and it's like a guy like opening a car door and then not getting in, into like faking throwing a basketball shot. You know what I'm talking about? You know that stupid trend? Like, that is how you should play fights. You put an idea in their head, you convince them, because you know they're trying to read what you're doing. You convince them that you're going to do something, and you do something else. And it works. Because when you watch that TikTok, it works. It's like so shocking to me that they don't get into the car. Right? So you should do that in fights. Well, it makes no sense not to do that. So yeah. Yeah, fake heal, like, put ideas in their head. It's like, why do you think when people fight in MMA, they throw fake punches? They don't just do the combos that they practice. Like, faking is a real thing. You need to fake. You need to put ideas in their head. You need to convince them that you're doing something that you're not actually about to do. Because if you're just counter-shotting on repeat, let's say I do this. Let's say I play like this, right? And I just keep expanding. Look at the pattern. I just made a pattern. What do you think they're going to do? They know what I'm going to do next. So the next time that they approach the wall, they're just going to sit up here, shock it out, because they know that it's coming. Because you just convinced them that there's a pattern. You need to be as unreadable as possible, right? And the only way to do that is by practicing realistic so much that your mechanics are so automatic that you can think during a fight. If you're panicking during a fight now, and you're so worried about, like, missing an edit and stuff, like, you have some work to do.
Seriously, if you're thinking about edits, how are you possibly gonna think about patterns and throwing your opponent off guard, like by doing fake stuff and moving in one direction to make him think you're going in a direction, and then doing a 180 and then another 180, shotgun, wall, edit, reset, shot, full box, reset, edit, shot. You know what I mean? Combo. Like, that's just, there's a lot to it.
Because there's no way you can even tap into any of this stuff that I'm talking about if your mechanics are lackluster. Make sense? Yeah, like, I mean, just because someone's healing doesn't, yeah, 100%. But you can also gauge, like, how good someone is by how much they fake. If they fake a lot and they put bad ideas in your head, then, and it's not what they're doing, then you can probably guess that they're a good player. You should really be evaluating, like, the person you're fighting all the time. It really helps. 2 hours of rules every day, guys. Trust me.
Bear.
Trust me. Ask the pros what they did back in the day. Tayson, Vino, Norrilli. Like, you know why pros get annoyed when people ask them questions in chat? You know why they get annoyed? They're like, oh, how do I get better? It's like the pros, like, you know what to do. Like, you know what you're supposed to do.
You know what to do. Put the hours in.
It's not a difficult answer. Now, first of all, what kind of question that is that? But they get annoyed because it's like, the answer is so simple. It's just fucking hard to do. It's boring. Yeah, they're asking for a shortcut. They're just not doing it. Vino did 100 1v1s a day. Yeah. You just fight. Just fight. Try to lock down a partner who has the same mindset as you do and fight.
Dang.
Do as much as you can. As much as you can. And you know what you can do. You can listen to your own self. But if you really struggle to put in even 1 hour a day of realistics, like, you're not going to get somewhere in this game. It's really tough. You need to minimum put some time in daily. It's like the gym. Like, you can't expect results. If you're okay with no results, that's fine. You know, don't go to the gym. No one's complaining. But if you really want to get good at this game, start putting in time, and it's not as hard as you think it is. Just put in the time. Like, schedule like an hour or two of realistics, non-negotiable. Just do it. It's not that hard. You don't need to make it so structured that it becomes like a chore. But just understand the importance of not missing a day. You're right, Cart. It is bad to 1v1 the same opponent every day for a long time. But if you have no other option, here's what people do, right? They hear that advice, right? And it's true. I don't even disagree with it. But then they think like, oh, I'm going to go play ranked or like do something else because I'm fighting the same opponent. But if that opponent's good, trust me, that's better. That's better than not doing it. Right? There's like a priority here. Like, if you had the option, you had like 5 different really challenging opponents, which by the way no one does except the pros. Like, there's no way you're gonna find that. If you have a good partner, just do it. Understand there's a downside of the fact that you're getting used to this playstyle, and that's it. Like, what can you do? There's no way you have 4 different partners that all have the same difficulty and same challenge that they offer you. So just deal with it, because it's a problem. Everyone has to deal with it. It's fine. Doesn't matter. I had to do that for 3 years. Like, I fought the same person over and over and over, and we both got really good. We both got better. Don't skip it. Good spot to find people. Scrim servers. Guys, I'm actually shocked. Open scrim servers, right? Like the scrim servers that anyone can go into. I'm genuinely shocked how good some people are if you look for 1v1 in there. I'm actually very impressed. Like, I have found some of the most cracked people in open scrim servers. It makes, you know why, right? Because like those are the people that value fighting and put it on a pedestal, and they don't value game sense, so they end up being like most god fighters that have no placements, so they're opens. So if your goal is to get better at fighting, go fight them. They will, yeah, go crazy. Like, go open scrim servers for sure. So if I'm leaving walls weak when approaching and then struggling to get walls, is there a solid way to make opponent get out of their box, or am I stuck counter peeking? I think if you're struggling to... one thing I've noticed during my coaching is they will think that the reason why they don't get the wall and they can never take walls is ping, but I will always counter argue that and tell you that your reason why you're not getting walls is because your timing of taking walls is not as good as you think it is. You need to go get a partner, go into creative, have them hold a wall, and do not stop practicing your timing and getting it tighter and tighter and tighter and getting it more close to when you actually break the wall until you get to about 50% success rate. If you get close to 50% success rate, that means your timing's good. If you can only take the wall 10% of the time, it's not your ping, you just have shit timing. If your ping is under 83 or 93, I forget which one it is, you can take walls. It's just harder for you. Yeah, taking is 50-50. No, taking is 50-50. Everything's 50-50. It's just if you have higher than 93 ping, the priority will always go to the person that's holding. And you can't hold walls either. Yeah, it's coin flip, but it's only coin flip on a successful wall take. Meaning if you're late on the timing, it's not coin flip. You didn't even try to take the wall. Like, it didn't work. So they will always get it. But it's only 50-50. You're actually flipping the coin when you gave a successful wall attempt. I had one guy Noble 50 to me. Yeah. Bro, they are so good. Why do I always lose the wall? Dude, there's bias. Like, just don't worry about that. Because, listen, people with 0 ping can lose walls. Right? And there's a confirmation bias because you're always looking at the one time that you don't take it, that you're going to be biased to remember all the times that you didn't hold your wall properly. Like, trust me, there's been times where you held the wall properly, it's just you don't remember it. It's 50-50.
True.
I'm not sure I understand that, Epic. Yeah, okay, 2 more minutes for questions, and then we're gonna call it. How's your day been? It's been good, man. Go fight, guys. You want to get better at fighting? Go fight.
Yep, that's the moral. Tomorrow we're back on our grind. We got a tournament. Hopefully my boy Charlize can pop out. You know, he's my number 1 assassin. You know, definitely the mercenary. My hitter. My sniper. Y'all have a good night. Follow your heart. Follow your God. Jesus Christ is the way. Christ is King. Invest in yourself and believe in yourself.